workshops in Botswana. I've done workshop in the United States. I've done in South Africa, and yeah, Nigeria. And it's growing. You would have to go into my past to understand what the motivation is. I grew up on the street, not privileged. I wasn't born with a silver spoon like everybody say. I basically wanted something and I went for it. And for me, who came out from high school with the lowest grade, for me who came out from a family where I was the underdog, for me who came out with just not knowing what my life was about and found out that, wow, I can do this. And today, for who I am, the different, I've been to over 26 countries, mostly because of either my music or mostly because of my cinematography, speaking and training people. It's a big achievement for me. My mission with Inner Hub Film Academy is to get everyday people from the street and tell them that, look, you can do this. Expose them to the right tools and say, hey, you can do this. If I could do this, you can do this. That's really like the foundational motivation for this. This workshop has just been a tremendous workshop with just wonderful people, wonderful students. I think what I like about the students and this workshop really is the fact that I would say a good 90% or more are just down-to-earth people, everyday people. And those are the kind of people, those are my targeted audience really. Everyday people, just down-to-earth people that really want to learn. We promote a very, very respectful environment where we respect each other. We're all at different learning curve. Some people know more. My workshops are usually designed for beginners and intermediate, but it's amazing to see even the professionals that have been in this industry for a long time. They come and there's a network, there's just a wonderful fellowship going on, a wonderful friendship. By the way, friendship for life, you keep this friendship and just wonderful sets of students. And what I like about this workshop is the fact that we know everybody's at a different level of learning, and then we care for one another. We take time to take everybody along. It's sort of like in the military. We don't leave anybody behind. We have to carry everybody along, and that's what this workshop is for me. So you find out that you come, you interacting with professionals, people that are well-traveled, people that are very educated, and people that are, the educational level, they're still, learning. But guess what? We all learn, we come together and we integrate and we learn properly. And that's what this vision is for me. It's not necessarily all about the tools, but it's also about, just life, because as a cinematographer, you have to understand that this is what life is all about. And we call it show business. Like I always say, there's a show part of it and there's a business part of it. So we teach you both. The show business, how to use the tools, where to get the tools, and then the business aspect of it, how to relate with the client, how to deal with the client, how to please the client, how to price, how to, get the best for the buck, as they say. And so it's an all-in-one exposure into this thing called media. In a sentence, I want to say we demystify what production is all about. Because from a distance, you're like, wow, you have this desire, I want to do this thing, but man, it's not for me. It's for people that are up there. It's all bull, man. If somebody would take time to show you the tools, I promise you, you will be the next Spielberg. Like we learned in class, lighting is not a science, it's an art. In a cinematographer, it's all about the art. We're creating, Yeah, and it's a toy. Oh, by the way, it's a toy shop in the sense that you get to play with the toys, hands-on. You touch the camera, you touch the lens, you record, you play with the audio, you hear everything, you're like, wow. And I think that makes a difference. It changes everything for you because you're getting to play with those toys and you're using real-life equipment that you just hear about. In an industry where a lot of guarded secrets, especially living in Nigeria or Africa, how it is, where people would hoard information just so they are the Superman or the Superwoman, just so they are needed. For me, that is very counterproductive. If you can produce multiple good cinematographers, then you won't have to kill yourself because everybody wants you to be the one to do it. But I can clearly say, hey, listen, meet this person or meet this person, they can do equally as good as I am, if not better. But more than anything, my foundational principle in life is biblical, And there's a part in the Bible that says that it is more blessed to give than to receive. And it says what you have received, give freely. So the information is really out there. It's not really a guarded secret. Whoever is ready to work a little harder can get all this information in this day and age of technological information, you know, YouTube or iPhones and all that stuff. So, hey, I get to be the hero by sharing the secrets, you know. Some people in the industry hate me for that, but guess what? My students really love me for that. So for me, you know, I see it as a privilege to be able to teach people and show them tools. And I think I'm the one that is honored to do anything like that. Where do I see this workshop in the next 5 to 10 years? It's one of those things where, you know, you dream. I'm not limited by what I dream about. It's interesting to see the small beginnings and see how God has been expanding this. In the next 5 years, I hope to have more film academies, not only in this level, even on a lower level, meaning in a high school level, even in elementary school level, because I've exposed my kids. My oldest right now is, she's 14, and she can handle the camera. She started when she was young. She sees daddy carry it, and I try to show her, you know, my kids, I have 3 children, this is how you frame a shot, and it just means for me that you can really catch them young. Nigeria, for example, is said to be, in Africa, that nobody produces as much volume of movies as we do in Nigeria. But a good majority of what we're producing out are just garbage, you know, garbage in the sense that just horrible. And on the one hand, I blame a lot of producers because they're lazy, they don't want to do the right thing. But on the other hand, I feel sorry for a lot of people because they haven't really been exposed or trained how to do it right. So what I want to see in the next couple of years is to, you know, produce, you know, or rather train people that would be the next Spielberg. How do I balance work, family, and ministry? Well, see, my wife loves me so much that if she divorced me tonight, tomorrow morning we're remarried, and then she divorced me later in the evening, the next morning we're remarried. That's how I balance it. I just lied. I'll tell you how I balance this. I'm still learning the art of balancing work and play and family, to be honest with you. I think for me, the lucky thing for me, or the blessed thing for me, is the fact that my wife too is a cinematographer. We met in film school, and so she understands the rigor, the long hours and the hard work that you have to do in this industry. However, we try to balance it up where we work hard, and we try to play, you know, meaning we take, you know, vacations, and so we try to do that. My children understand that when daddy's working, he's working. And they know that when they let me work, there's a reward. We get to go get ice cream, or we get to go at, you know, they get to eat half a chicken by themselves, or we get to sometimes travel. But really it's a balancing act that I'm still learning on how to balance it. I enforce this with my students when we're editing, or when we're shooting, or when we're in class. We make sure that when the time that is designated for breaks, our break time, you know, I force them to get off the computer, either shut down the computer, leave the class to stretch away. And the same thing in the real world. When you're out in the industry, you have to take vacations. You have to take your days off. You have to, especially when you work in church production, it is a horrible slave trade type work environment. I know that because I'm a pastor, and I know that because I know how we work in a church environment, but also in the real world. So I try to balance it by taking as much break as it will permit me. Sometimes I just switch off my computer, and for 2 days I don't even touch it, because I've been going for like 24 hours, multiple days, sometimes weeks, especially when I have a deadline that I have to speed out something. But just time management, you know, read time management books, or, you know, get the wife to advise you. Wives are very, very fantastic with time management. You know, they will tell you, okay, it's time to get off the computer. So, I mean, I'm still learning the art. I wouldn't say that I'm there yet. My job takes me to travel all around the world. Videography, either I'm going to film documentaries, or I'm going to shoot a music video or a short film. And the fun part of it is that, you know, I get to travel. I get to meet different culture. I actually really love people. I'm a people person. I love cultures. I really love it. When I go to a country for the first time, I want to engage the locals. I would eat in a very local restaurant. One thing you guys don't know about me is the fact that I really hate when I go to a country for the first time and I travel by myself, meaning my wife and my family are not there. I really don't like staying in a hotel by myself. I actually hate it. You know, I'd rather stay with a family, a local family, if they can give me a room. I don't care if they're poor or not, as long as I can sleep, you know, in a, protected from mosquitoes or whatever. I'd rather spend that money with that family. But the reason why I do that is because I want to feel the culture. I really want to understand the culture, see how they think, eat their food. And I found that to be extremely rewarding, extremely rich, because you're living with these people, you're eating their food, you're learning their culture, and they give you access into their lives. And it has helped me as a cinematographer because I can enter anywhere freely. And even when I go to a place where, they're strict or something, they say, oh, no, this is part of us. He's our brother, And I love that, So I enjoy traveling, Like I said, I've been to about 26 countries as of today. And it's been a fun experience, And as a cinematographer, you get to film. You get to, meet culture, and then it helps you be balanced in your life, You can, because in this culture is different from this culture, so you end up not being judgmental as far as life is concerned.
What's your approach to new students coming that are interested in cinematography but don't know if they want to do it?
What's my approach about new students coming who are interested in cinematography but don't know that they want to do it? Cinematography can be a really scary thing when you think about it, especially when you see how movies are made and you see the network of people and you see the cameras and you see the cables and the lights, and ooh, that can be overwhelming for somebody who doesn't, who's trying to come into this thing. And, you can look at it, take one look at it and say, you know what, this is not for me. But honestly, it's really not as complicated as you think it is. Because when you come, this is what we have gotten from students that have come for our film academy. They come and they're like, oh mine, so this is what this is all about. Oh, they said, oh, it's not that bad, now I understand lighting. Now I understand why these cables are going here and why this is there. So I would say to you, if you're a first-time student or if you're thinking about coming to InnerHub Film Academy but you're afraid of it or you're not sure of it, I want to say, like any other thing, you know what, just come, take the risk. And come. You can only die once if you do die, but you're not gonna die. But you'll come and you'd love it, and you're gonna learn about cameras. And we want to demystify cameras or monitors or lights or just the cables, so that when you see them, I promise you, this happens to you after the film academy. You're gonna go, huh? I know how they did that, like, oh yeah, this is cool. And I like the way you're nodding your head, by the way. That's cool. You learned, man. You're not going, oh, this, and it's dope, man. I learned the word dope from my student, because they're younger students, and they try to teach you how to say, this is cool, or this is dope, or this is, what's the other word again?
Lit.
This is lit. And there's another word, though. Legit.
Banging.
Oh, this is banging. I like that. InnerHub Film Academy is banging.
It's only for food.
Oh, it's only for... see, they say you can only use that for food. Okay. But for me as a teacher, teaching, the class is a learning experience for me. I learn. Because first of all, you have a class full of people that are hungry to learn, and they come with a lot of energy. And that I feed into that energy. And just the excitement to want to learn new things for me, that's great. And it helps me to grow as a person. You never stop learning. That's what I say. The older you get, you want to learn more. And, generation changes. And you want to be relevant. I want to be relevant. So I do attend conferences. I do attend workshops like this one that I teach people. And in turn, for me to grow, I give it back to the community, to my local community, or to people that are not privileged to have this. So learning and growing for me is being able to give back what I have learned. And I appreciate it when my students come very hungry to learn. So that's a growing process for me. I would recommend InnerHub Film Academy to students who are just starting or even already are into cinematography or storytelling to come and learn to improve on what they've already know. And just because it's a hands-on workshop, hands-on in the sense that you really actually get to touch this camera and the steady cams and the stuff just to play around with it, and that helps you. It boosts your confidence to know that, hey, I can do this. It's not just, you know, for special people, because it can be scary when you're out there looking at the people doing this stuff and you're thinking, man, I can never do this. This is just awesome. But workshops like this really goes a long way to help people who want to learn how to be a cinematographer or telling stories. So I would definitely recommend that. Technology has changed in the past 20 years. The affordability of equipment for cinematography is just amazing. Things that you used to pay, you know, $50,000 for, you can buy for literally $5,000 today. Meaning things that you paid for $5,000 those days, you can literally pay anything from $50 to, you know, $100. With really not much budget, you can buy this equipment. Training can be very expensive. I attend conferences myself, and sometimes I really have to pay heavily to acquire this knowledge. But I also believe in giving back to our communities, our next generation, and there are people there with just fantastic abilities to tell stories. They just don't know how. And money shouldn't be a reason why people cannot do what they want to do or pursue their dream. If we at Inner Hub Academy can make it a little cheaper or affordable, that's our goal. We want to do that. So we try as best as we can to make it affordable. It's amazing that sometimes over 80% of our students, they get scholarships. Depending on where we're at, depending on, you know, sometimes it's just our heart. We want to teach people. I believe that people can tell their own stories better. Africans can tell the African story better. Americans can tell American story better. The Asians can tell Asian story better. So people, if you will just put those tools in their hands and help them, I think they will do fantastic things, and then they can also pay it forward. You know, be good to somebody else, you know, on their way. But for me, my heart is just to, I love it. I'll tell you this though, I'm a bad business person. My wife would tell you that, because we give away things a lot for free. And my wife say, how are you going to make money? Or my business partners will say, hey, that's not good business practice. The reason why I love Inner Hub Film Academy, and we keep doing this every year, is because I love the fact that we can teach young people, and also people from, you know, third world nation that do not have access to, you know, trainings like this. We enjoy just going there and teaching, you know, people from, you know, Africa or anywhere, you know, we get opportunity to go teach, because they get to use tools like this to tell their own stories. And I think people, if you train people to tell their own stories, they're the best people that can tell their stories. I think what we have seen so far is when people come to Inner Hub Film Academy, they're pleasantly surprised that they learn as much as they learn, because sometimes the advertisement and the promotion doesn't do justice really. But because it's a hands-on training, you know, you get to touch the cameras. We make sure you don't break them, but you get to touch the cameras. You get to touch real life, microphones and sliders. Whatever you're touching are, you know, things that people are actually using in the real world. You know, they're expensive, but we like exposing people to these tools so they see it and they feel it. There's a difference. I know for me, when I started cinematography, just going to a workshop where I can touch these things boosted my confidence in actually buying them or using them. I was not afraid of them anymore. So I think when you come, I'm pretty sure you'll be excited about it, especially if you're just starting in cinematography. It's going to be a fun time for you. My favorite part as a teacher in this workshop is to see people that came in not knowing anything about cinematography and actually even afraid of it. At the end of this, however many days this workshop is, turn into a confident student, looking at the camera and arguing about, you know, the positioning of the light, or, you know, framing your picture right, and just the light that comes up, the bulb that goes off in your brain is, wow, I can do this. This is not as hard as it is. So I really enjoy seeing people who never knew how to handle cameras or lighting, and they're able to handle this. But most importantly, they're able to go out there and tell their own stories, and that's that brings joy for me. And I love giving back, you know, as a person. Personally, I love just giving back to my society and my community, you know, just to the next generation. Very important. I think I like the putting all the pieces together after you filmed and interviewed people and you're trying to put your story together. Sometimes it's really frustrating because you're trying to put the story together and you feel like, oh my gosh, this is not coming together. But at the end of the day, people are watching it and they're going, oh wow, this is good. And sometimes it's humbling to see people cry after watching your production. You're thinking, really? I didn't think it was going to, you know, be that impactful. So I think just putting it together. I love the camera. I love filming. I love framing people. I just love, you know, recording people. But I love editing and putting the whole music, the story, and balancing the audio. I love putting it together. I would say that's probably my favorite part of the whole process of storytelling. And you have to learn how to do it by yourself. You do a lot of things by yourself as a solo, you know, cinematographer. You're the sound man, you're the you're the videographer, you're telling a story. It forces you to grow, and I like that.